I'm Pat Rossman. I was Pat Edwards in 1953, the first year for the Norwegian Dancers, and we had a great time in the spring of 53 and also danced in the school year 53 and 54. I have some very good memories, even though my memories aren't as good as I wish they were, but I think the high point of my high school career actually was Norwegian Dancers. And part of it was how much fun the dancing was, and the other part was how much fun it was to perform for other people and to get to know better the people that I was dancing with. We had visits to a high school. We were in a parade for Sutnamai. We also danced for a TV station in Milwaukee, and there weren't a lot of TV stations at the time, and there weren't a lot of us who had televisions at home where we could see anything that we had done, but we got lots of good feedback, so that was lots of fun. It was a good year or two.
How do you remember the group getting started?
There are a number of different stories about the group getting started, but my best memory is that we all were required to be part of a Phi Ed exhibition of some sort in the spring to show all of the different things we had accomplished in our gym classes. And a number of us thought that we just really didn't want to be seen in red bloomers, even though we figured out how to tuck up the elastic so it looked more like shorts, but it didn't work totally. And since we had a folk dance segment in our Phi Ed class that year, between our group and Miss Reek, we decided maybe that would be a good alternative to the red bloomers. So that's kind of how we got started. And lots of parents come to the gym exhibits, and there were lots of people that were clapping. So it sort of kept going.
So what do you remember happening after you danced your folk dances at that gym exhibition? What did the audience do?
Well, we had a lot of audiences that were audience that clapped and yelled and thought that we did really great out there. And I think that audience encouraged Miss Reek and the rest of us to follow through with folk dancing.
Did they give you a standing ovation or not?
They gave us a standing ovation there, and we also got a standing ovation when we were part of the Sutnamai parade. Everybody that was sitting along the parade route stood up and clapped as we went by.
Oh,
so the
wow.
word was out.
Cool.
It
Cool.
was good.
What do you remember wearing at that Phi Ed exhibition? If you didn't wear the red bloomers, what did you wear?
Everybody had to get find their own Norwegian type outfit. The guys were easy, black pants and red vests. And we gals had a number of parents, a number of moms and others that were seamstresses, and most people had a black skirt of some kind and did a little decorating. Everybody could find a white apron, and that worked out real well. And some of us knew people who did beadwork, so they did a little bit of beading with our vests, so they looked pretty cool. And it was a very easy thing to make the hat. It didn't amount to very much, but it worked. And that was sort of our outfit to start with.
Cool.
Yeah, it worked pretty well.
So that first spring, you danced just twice at the Phi Ed exhibition, and then on Sunday of Sutnamai?
And the Sunday of Sutnamai, that's right, that's right.
And what was the
But it was like in the spring, so there wasn't much school time left, actually.
Right.
So I think we were probably lucky to get two performances in.
Right. What do you remember the response of the audience being at the Sutnamai performance? Because people were from all over at that one.
They were. That was really interesting because, you know, we thought about Stoughton in Norway, Norwegian kinds of things, and I guess none of us had a really good idea that people come to Sutnamai from all over the place, including even Norway, to celebrate the Norwegian Independence Day. And it was just, the audience was just enthralled with the fact that here were a bunch of kids out there doing Norwegian dances, folk dances.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you had a full year, 53, 54, and you graduated in 54.
Graduated in 54. Yes, I wish I could remember more about our performances that year. We did a number of performances at high school auditoriums. I can't remember anything negative other than I can remember my slip falling down and I had to kick that off to the side. um, and we, you know, went on a school bus. I can remember that. And there weren't that many of us. Donna Jean Lundeberg was the accordionist, and she really was awesome as far as helping us through, you know, the music. We knew what we were doing most of the time. And the audiences were good. I think that it was a really unusual thing for southern Wisconsin high schools to have a folk dance group. And when you think about Stoughton or Mount Horeb or places that have, whether it's Nordic or some other country that they're kind of famous for, I think we lucked out. I mean, it was lucky for us that it was Stoughton and it was Norwegian Dancers. It was good.
Yeah. How did the boys get chosen? You had said that Miss Reek asked 6 of you girls to go find some boys to dance with you at that FIA demonstration.
You know, I don't think that was all that difficult. Some of us chose the guys that we happened to be dating at the time. I know that one of the guys got asked by one of the other guys who agreed to be another partner. It was very obvious that some had more dancing experience than others. A couple of them knew how to waltz and schottis, and
yeah, I was wondering how many teenagers back then knew how to waltz and schottisch and polka. Was it common?
I probably not as much as 20 years before, when a lot of places had house parties, and that's what you did, was dance, and there were fiddling tunes, and I know even in our neighborhood here, there were 2 or 3 groups that's what they did. So I think 20 years earlier, I would have thought there would have been more even, but parents were teaching their kids how to do some of those kinds of things, and we lucked out. And the dances weren't horribly complicated at the time. And I think that we probably had, I would say if we had 6 or 7 dances that we did, that was probably it.
Do you remember what one of the first dances was?
Well, we did do waltzes and schottises and did a little bit of variation. Did the Rhinelander. I do think we did one of the dances that had a lift, or the lift was sort of at the end. That was like a finale. Could have been the finale of a polka. I can't remember.
There is a lift at the end of Rhinelanders.
Well,
Maybe
it might have been that then. Yeah.
Neat.
Not too many different dances.
Yeah.
Kept our feet going though.
Yes. Yes. And who was your partner?
His name was Philip Offerdahl. He was a farm boy that lived outside of town, outside of Stoughton. And I can remember he asked a buddy of his, Connie Olson, and Pete Jarvis. I think Pete Jarvis. I should look at the picture. But most of them were special friends of the gals. The second year was a little bit different because a number of the first year guys were seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in
Graduated.
college, and most of us had a different partner that second year.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of gals that were sophomores at the time. So they ended up with two different partners the next 2 years because they stayed in with the dancers too.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good time.
What do you remember about Miss Reek? What are your memories
my
of her?
Gosh, you did not cross Miss Reek. She knew what she was about, and she was a researcher. She studied all this Norwegian dance, folklore, all of those kinds of things, and that worked really well.
So she was real stern even in her younger years, because she had to have been in her 20s, didn't
Oh,
she?
she had to have been.
We were fresh out
But
of
we,
college.
you know, we all thought she was probably 35, but that's the way it is. But you know, now when you say that, I can sort of remember a couple of the people, like before a performance, if there was a stage performance, a couple of the people would talk with a little Norwegian accent and tell a little joke ahead of time. And that was, you know, part of the show.
Mhm.
And I think that didn't happen until the second year, when that probably helped us with not knowing as many dances.
Mhm.
little
Helped
bit of-
fill a little time.
So yeah, kill a little time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't know who found the jokes, but they were pretty good.
They were probably plentiful in Stoughton.
Oh yes, they were.
Ole and Lena jokes. And
They were.
do you remember her being very, like, did she talk with you? Or was she kind of standoffish and didn't mix with the students much?
I don't know. I never felt that she was standoffish. I don't know whether that was me or I don't know. I like to talk, and she talked, and she would ask, you know, questions about my Norwegian heritage and
Mhm.
did I know this or that. So, you know, we had conversations, and I think she might have been perceived as standoffish by some people. I don't
Yeah,
know that
I'm
as a
not,
fact.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure. I was just wondering what your
Yeah.
impressions of her were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew what she wanted, and you knew that she had really high expectations
Mm-hmm.
for everybody,
Mm-hmm. Herself included.
herself included.
Right.
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being at her home a couple of different times
When you were in high school?
yeah, I think it was, well, now that you say when I was in high school, I wonder if it was when I was with the group, the Friends of Norwegian Dancers, or it might have been during that time.
Were
I'm
you-
not sure about that.
Were any of your children dancers? They wouldn't
No.
have been, because they were in
No,
a
our,
different
my
school
kids were
district.
in McFarland.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. Were you part of the Friends of Norwegian culture?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of forgotten that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it's been great talking with you and sharing your memories. Thank you so much, Pat.
It's been fun talking with you. I've been looking
Yeah.
forward to having you come.
Yeah. Thanks so much.